Greetings, everybody. Chris from Thundercast and Grayskull back at you. Sorry it's been a little bit. Had to take some time and refocus, readjust some things. I had some personal things in my life that I needed to take care of. However, this is not why you tuned in. This is not why you clicked the button to watch the vid. Today we are going to be taking a little bit of a look at Lion-O throughout the years. Stay tuned. So in light of Super 7's San Diego Comic-Con exclusives that they let us know what we'll be having, got the toy version look for Lion-O and Mumm-Ra. And I figured it'd be nice to sit down and actually see how everything progressed from, our OG Lion-O over here all the way through the eras. Because I think we came a long way. We went from, our 80s Lion-O here, and I've got to flex a little bit. He still has the action feature. Love it. I just ended up recently picking him up for, a really great deal. Really great deal. Found him on Facebook Marketplace. And you notice, he does not look bad. Of course, you can tell somebody played with him. He's got chipping here and there, but overall, he's in really great condition. And just like I do with most of, if not all of my figures, especially if they come loose, he definitely did get a Dawn bath with, a soft, very soft toothbrush. But he cleaned up really nice. I still got to get, his claw shield, of course, because this was like the second version of Lion-O that came out, I believe. Somebody fact check me. Let me know down in the comments. But yeah, can you believe it? Can you believe it? Like how long Thundercats have been going on. And yeah, everybody's got their gripes with Super 7. Whether it's the price, it's articulation, some of the sculpts. I have some of them too. But I've got to give it up for the guys because they're still going. They're still going. Yes, we're getting another Lion-O and Mumm-Ra 2-pack. But I'm loving the fact that they're doing, how many versions of the original Lion-O are there? And we'll get into that as we progress, because especially with the toy version, we'll definitely be taking a look at. But we're going to put, Mr. OG King Lion-O off to the side for a second, and we're going to bring in our next one. And another, correct me if I'm wrong, but Thundercats was pretty much, as far as toys were concerned, they were pretty much dead until Bandai came out. And when Bandai came out, oh my God, especially with 2011, this is one of their Lion-O classics figures before Mattel grabbed the Thundercats classic trope. A lot more articulation. I think at that time they were going in new areas, new branching of things. See, you even got swivel at the boot. Like, look at that. They went all out. Yeah, it's not my favorite sculpt of Lion-O, but I got to give it to them, for what for what they did. They brought it back. We got a new figure of them at the time. In which somebody let me know when was the last time before, when the 80s line died out up to this point, when did we get a line nose figure, not a statue, but a figure, like an articulated figure? Because even the original, like, I'm gonna bring the OG back. I mean, we had what, 5 points of articulation with an action feature. So yeah, let me know down in the comments if I'm wrong, because I'm believing that not until Bandai came through and did this did we, was there just, it was just a huge gap. Now moving on, and I'm going to use the Super 7 Lion-O as a stand-in for the Mattel, Thundercats Classic, because it was literally the same buck. It was, I think they just took the exact same mold, kind of, I know that they did, fix up the sword, because his original sword with the Mattel Classics, the blade was a lot beefier. But it still looks great. I mean, I love what Super 7 did with it. I mean, was it cartoon accurate? No. But I still love it. Still love it. I mean, yes, they even kept, and this buck style is still the same buck style as, Motu Classics. All they did was transfer it through. And it wouldn't be up until recent that we would get a pinless version of Lion-O. Repainted a little bit. Certain colors are lightened up. I wish they would have done more of a orange or a dark flesh tone. I'll get to why I say dark flesh tone here in a moment. But even in the show, there was so many variants of his cell shading throughout the entire show. So you can't really just pick one. However, like I said, I think they're doing really good with it. So we're going to take these two guys off for a second. And yeah, I guess we can do a little bit of comparison for a moment. We're going to bring these two in. We have the first toy version release, and then we have the DX or version 2 for anybody who collects the OG. You know what I'm talking about. Anybody who doesn't, the original color was, he had, the sword was red, his hair was red, his claw shield was red. Version 2, orange, orange, orange. And as you can see, mine is the red. And who knows, maybe one of these days I might end up getting, being able to be lucky and get the original Light Up Eyes version. Who knows? Who knows? But I do love the fact that they did get the colors almost perfect. Almost perfect. I think as far as the original tone or hue, however you want to describe it, of his skin tone, and I'm just looking at the plastic. I'm looking at the softer plastic, not the harder, because that is actual real hard plastic. That's more soft plastic. But the color is kind of like it's lighter than this one, and it's lighter than this one. So it kind of looks like it went, if we was to do on a shade level, it would probably be more, it would be closer to this one, which, hey, I'm not knocking. I'm really not. I'm glad that they did it. And I'm glad that they did both versions, and it looks like they did two different face sculpts. Yeah, like this one, you can see where his jaw cuts in a little bit more, and his is a little bit more poofier. Let me bring them in so you can kind of get more of a understanding of what I'm saying. Yeah, you see how, you know, red Lion-O, how his face, you know, it's more sunken in, and orange Lion-O over here, his face is a little bit, you know, a little bit more healthy. His cheeks aren't sunk in. But overall, I think, yeah, Super 7 has continuously done a great job, especially even keeping the property alive. You know, so we're going to take these off right quick. We're going to look at what, you know, how it has continued on. And I'm just going to bring in the ultimates over here. You know, King Lion-O, after his anointment trials that he did with everybody. I mean, as you see, he's got the belt with every one of their crests on it. There's Thundercat insignia saying that he won their trial, which was really great. And I'm loving the fact that this portrait of Lion-O, he's smiling. There's plenty of them where, you know, there's plenty of episodes where he, you know, especially at the end, Lion-O's smiling. You know, and contrary to popular belief, I've seen a couple of YouTubers have actually said that Lion-O, you don't ever see him, you know, with an angry face. Plenty of episodes where he gets upset and he's snarling, because in a lot, every episode where the sword gets broke, it's because of Lion-O's hubris. He gets angry, he gets, you know, too full of himself, and it snaps. So we're gonna take him off. Now we're gonna go with the DC line. Now, there's a reason why there's two different shades to this. And I might end up I'm most likely going to do a video on this one part. So if you notice, there's two different Lion-Os, right? This is the original DX Lion-O. This is my custom of the DX Lion-O. I did it that way because one of my favorite shades of Lion-O is would say orange or orange-ish, but it's, if you bought the paint and you painted it, it would be a dark flesh Vallejo paint, and that was hand painted. Use a wet palette method. If you don't know what that is, look it up on YouTube. It's literally a palette with a sponge in it. You wet it a little bit, put, you know, piece of cloth on top of it. Yeah, you wet the sponge. Use parchment paper, or you can cheap out and use paper towel for the wet palette, and a little bit of paint. And that right there is the whole purpose, is to keep the paint wet while you're painting, especially large surfaces. And it's a good way how to actually blend the paint as well, because Vallejo is acrylic paint. Acrylic is, you know, clean everything up with water. But we're going to bring these bad boys in. Now, the flesh tone of it, I mean, if you notice, tone wise, I mean, this is how I think of Lion-O. This right here, no. I will say that, you know, just like Super 7, just like Mattel, they have a problem with some form of the sculpt with their main heroes. Like, And with him, it's not the front profile, it's the side profile. Because if you notice, see how it looks almost flat. You know, you see how his face looks almost flat. There's it. If you watch the show, you'll see, you know, where he looks off to the side. It does not look right. It just doesn't. However, this right here with, you know, with the new DX, they added a lot more articulation into the figures. You know, you had, you know, of course, you had the elbow joint that, you know, went up and down, but also you can move it out. The knee, you know, you can swivel it. Instead of it being cut at the boot, it's cut at the knee. Oh, I'm going to have to give you a hot water treatment. I mean, as I stated in previous, you know, in another video. Okay, now. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. There we go. As I stated in another video, this right here is basically the evolution coming from the Motu Classics buck, or, you know, their body, all the way, you know, doing their own thing. We've seen what Mattel has done. You know, they had, you know, they did Masterverse, and then I think they got to a point that they were stuck at. They was like, okay, we can't do anything with it, and if we change it, you know, we're gonna have to remake everybody. So I guess that's why they went with the Chronicles line. Which, be perfectly honest, I might end up making another vid on my thoughts about what they're doing with the Chronicles line. However, I digress. We're back on the Thundercats here, baby. So, with that being said, I'm going to take these two off here, and we're going to look at our final one. And this is the Light Up Eyes Lion-O. The first one I got, I mean, buck and everything was on point. The second one I got, and yes, it wasn't, you know, the Ultimates. You see, he is looser than all get out. Like, he is loose. But, you know, I wasn't going to knock the man. And dude, man, I might have to repaint him. And that's another thing when it comes down to customizing. Oh, yeah. You see deep in that joint. I might have to try to see if I can take him apart and tighten up everything. And even look at, you know, the stamp. Yep. I'm going to take him apart, and I'm probably just going to end up repainting him. However, nonetheless, I wanted, this is what I wanted. And yeah, we're going to get another one of these just in toy color, which I think is going to be really great. I am going to say that I do like the fact that they are bringing back the old packaging style for, you know, for it, you know, Ultimates line, and they, you know, they brought it back with Light Up Eyes, Lion-O, and Mumm-Ra. That's epic and amazing. So, we're going to have a little bit of fun here for a minute. Even though he's a little messed up, kind of curious about how this is going to look on camera. Yeah. Oh, we got to do him up too. Oh my God. And yeah, I know it's another repaint, it's another remake, but I think Super 7, just like most other company, just like everybody, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do, or what direction that they're going, which is, hey, I can't fault them. They keep Thundercats alive. I mean, this isn't, like Mattel where, Mattel owns the rights. They own Masters of the Universe. So I hope, Super 7 keeps going. I know there's talks about bringing back, bringing around the 2011. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, let me like literally. Yep, we're gonna wrap up this portion, but there's something, but I want to hit y'all up right quick. I want to give you some of my thoughts and other things, and let me know down in the comments. Let's I respond to every comment, so hit me up. So during my break, and I just wanted to address this. This channel might not be like what everybody's used to. I mean, this isn't really a toy reviewing channel or whatnot. It's more of I'm sitting down with you guys, talking to you about, our favorite figures, our favorite properties. And it might not, it might not be, this channel might not be for everybody, but just like everybody, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of these properties, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this platform, what I want to do with this. So, I mean, if you have any suggestions, put them down in the comments, or hit me up on Instagram, Thundercat_of_Grayskull. You'll find, you'll find me easily. However, I digress. This isn't a plug, but if you want to stop by and say hi that way, if you want to leave me a comment, leave a like. I mean, that right there is always going to help. I mean, this might interest, people in general. I know moving forward, there's, I'm a customizer, as you saw with some, with some of my figures, that I'm not afraid to paint them up. I'm not afraid to do a little bit of sculpting. I'm not the best in the world, but I enjoy it, and I take pride in what I do. That's the only thing that anybody can really, as long as you like what you're doing and you're doing something to the best of your ability, that is what's up. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, because like I said, I'm just starting off here. I've got new equipment that I'm learning, that I'm currently learning how to use it. I've got, I've got to figure out some editing software because, all I use is CapCut. And like I said, I'm new to this. I don't know. So if anybody, if any other channel any other channel, ends up checking this out, hey, if you want to hit me up on Instagram and say, hey, I would try this editing software, or I would try this, or I would try that. I believe we're all here to help each other in some shape, form, or capacity. But man, it's been great talking to y'all. It's been great seeing y'all again. For those who showed back up, appreciate it. Thank you so much. But until next time, here at Thundercat of Grayskull, we uphold the code of Thundera by the power of Grayskull. Y'all have a great day. Bro, don't you love it when you get vintage figures that the action feature still works? Yeah. Here, trying to take care of everybody. Look at Who's next?